Good morning and welcome to the 7th edition of the CABA ASEAN Summit. My name is Sean McEwen and it's an honour to be your event host. Whether you are joining us from our home community here in Singapore or across the region, I hope you've had your kopi and we trust you are staying safe and well. This event has been made possible by RHTLaw Asia as part of One RHT, in conjunction, of course, with the China-ASEAN Business Alliance. We would like to acknowledge and thank our event partners. Today's summit won't be possible without the support of Rhodium Virtual Solutions, who are providing us with the cutting-edge digital solutions we are using, and of course, the JW Marriott Singapore South Beach, for accommodating us today in their state-of-the-art virtual studio. Some housekeeping rules before we begin. Please, a gentle reminder, do note this event is being recorded. Switch off your microphone and video cameras. If you have any questions to the speakers or panellists, send your questions via the chat window on your screen, or if you wish to remain anonymous, please address your questions to the Summit admin. If you encounter any technical issues, simply log out and log back in, or you can reach our team on the following email address, techsupport@favorimage.com. In addition to the main program, we have breakout sessions running during the lunch break at approximately 12:30 p.m. And we will cover more areas of interest which can help you navigate your respective businesses and organisations in the brave new world. In each of the following breakout sessions, there will be a brief talk by subject matter experts, followed by a Q&A session. Please join the breakout session. The topics to be discussed are, in breakout room number 1, EdTech in ASEAN. In number 2, investment outlook in Cambodia. Doing business between China and ASEAN in breakout room number 3. In number 4, ESG in ASEAN. And number 5, digital assets, the new norm or just another fad. On behalf of the CABA ASEAN Summit Organising Committee, a very big thank you going out to all our distinguished guests and speakers who are with us today, both on-site and virtually. It is now my pleasure to invite the man behind every corporate lawyer's Bible, Senior Counsel of the Supreme Court, David Marshall Professor with the National University of Singapore's Faculty of Law, Dean of RHT Legal Training Institute and Chairman and Senior Consultant of RHTLaw Asia. To deliver his welcome address, please welcome Professor Walter Woon.
Good morning, Minister Indrani. May I say what a pleasure it is to see you again, if only virtually. Excellencies, my most distinguished friend, Professor Kishore Mahbubani, ladies and gentlemen from all over ASEAN and Asia. Welcome to this year's edition of RHT's China-ASEAN Business Association ASEAN Summit. One good thing about the pandemic, if I may be permitted to say so, is that it's forced everyone to embrace new communications technology. In years past, we would be gathered here in Singapore, having flown in from our various countries. Our guests would have been driven here so that we can sit in a large, air-conditioned auditorium all day, supplied with pages and pages of documents that will too often end up in a landfill. And at the end of the gathering, our guests would have departed, again by air. All of this would have been at the expense of the environment. Hard though it may be on the airlines and hospitality industry, the last couple of years have given the planet a little bit of a respite from the torrent of greenhouse gases. Documents are available in digital form and don't have to be printed out, much to the relief of the forests. And although we miss the social aspects of this kind of meeting, any little bit that we can do to retard climate change is to be welcomed. The problem, of course, is that climate change occurs over geological time spans, while humans have short lives. It's only now in our lifetimes that we see what is happening and are prompted to act. This morning in the Straits Times, there was a report on a survey done by the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies that showed that 70% of people in ASEAN are concerned with climate change, and that number will increase, of course. Now, individually, there is little we can do to retard climate change. Like King Canute, we cannot stop the tide on command. But unlike the Emperor Nero, we can't stand by fiddling while the world burns. RHT, for instance, has adopted a plan to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2030. We've appointed a Chief Sustainability Officer to oversee the plan, which involves staff, suppliers, and clients making efforts towards achieving the goal. These efforts may be small, but each small individual contribution, when aggregated, might make a difference. The basic problem is that cooperation needs trust, and trust is a commodity in short supply today. The US has embarked on a campaign to curb the rise of the People's Republic of China. Some call it a new Cold War, but we should avoid such terms with their bellicose undertones. It is a confrontation between the dominant power and a returning power. China is not a rising power. China is a returning power. Those with no sense of history think that the current state of the world is normal. It is not. For most of human history, China has been a major force in the world. What we are seeing is a return to the old normal, not a new normal. It is inevitable that as China, India, and the rest of the formerly colonized world developed, the dominance of the US and Europe will diminish. Diminution in comparative economic dominance does not mean diminution in absolute terms. It is possible for everyone to prosper together. But this is not going to happen without trust. And there will be no trust if the dominant powers insist on curbing competitors. Just as in fighting climate change, there is little we can do individually to foster the trust necessary for common prosperity. But we should not give up. The message should be clearly articulated, individually, nationally, and at ASEAN level, that the world is too small for the big countries to be engaged in confrontation. We need to cooperate to create prosperity for all and to save the world. We owe our children that much at least. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to the day when we can meet all of you again outside cyberspace. May I wish you all a profitable exchange of ideas.